there's a lot of all of a sudden you're in year two and there's a ton of new things going on, new league, the startup of the Pac-12, a couple different teams on the schedule. But from our process internally, not a whole lot. We've probably tweaked some things behind the scenes that maybe that our fan base wouldn't necessarily see from a practice standpoint, from a point of emphasis. But not trying to just lock it. We got a tremendous group of young men within the football team. We got a great staff. We're able to retain a lot of people, which I think is a sign of a healthy program. And really looking forward to it. We're 2 weeks away from today to report day and get started.
A little bit of a different media format, obviously, for media day. What does it mean to you to be able to at least speak to the media and kind of have your own media day to just get ahead of things before camp starts?
Well, the Pac-12's been consistent in their messages, try to do things a little bit different. We don't have to do things necessarily how they've always been done. I'm really excited about what Sav's done out here and with Table Mountain hosting this event for us to get out here and get in front of the media, local media, some of the regional media, and I know I have some Zooms with some national media as well. It tells me people are excited about what's coming up. They're excited about the inaugural season of the Pac-12, and I think it's good for our players. If we were limited to a remote media day, you might take 2, maybe 4 players at most, and you guys are going to have access to, I think, over a dozen today, which I think is a positive.
At the end of the spring, you guys were kind of banged up. Some guys were hurt, and they were planning on seeing how that was going. How are some of the guys doing? Give any updates ahead of the start?
Don't have a ton of updates right now. We're still trying to navigate. We're 2 weeks out. We're in our 7th week of our summer workouts. We're excited about where we are. Of course, during the summer, there's always some soft tissue injuries and things of that nature, but you'll probably have a better gauge as we get a little bit closer. The first couple of days of fall camp will be probably informative for everybody to see kind of where we are from a health standpoint. But you guys know as much as I do, part of the reason why we had some success last year was the consistency we had within our roster. We didn't have a ton of injuries, and when we did, we had someone who could step in and play at a high level. And we'll continue to utilize that double rep method during fall camp so we can hopefully outthink and outwork some of those injuries that unfortunately happen in this game.
So with being in the Pac-12, there's like this cloud of sense of more pressure. Do you feel like there's more pressure for you to do something different in year 2 or to quote, step up to the plate being in a new conference?
Well, I think, the competitive side of me, of course, you want to have an unbelievable season in the 2026 year, being the inaugural year of the Pac-12. And, of course, anytime you hear the word Pac-12, you think of the history and the tradition that this conference has had. And it's exciting. I know, but we have a ton of tremendously talented coaches and football teams within this program, within this league now. So the work's going to be out there for us, and to be able to sustain it year long. The challenge, finding that balance between work and recovery, and because every week is going to be a difficult task, but we're looking forward to it. We're excited for it. We've tried to temper a little bit some of the excitement because it's week by week. We have to be prepared every week. It's not. I don't want to try to forecast too much. I just want to take them week at a time and see if we can put a great product on the field and something that Red Wave can be proud of.
Well, that brings me to my next question. The Red Wave knows what's so special about this program, but you mentioned talking to national media later. What's your message when you try to convey what type of brand Fresno State's going to have this season and how it might be different from others?
Right. Yeah, I don't know if it necessarily will change a lot from what our brand was a year ago. I think we're just staying consistent. I think, having some national media reach in, with our media day today, illustrates the excitement, illustrates the value the forepaw has. I tell the story every time I'm traveling. I could be in an airport in the Midwest. I could be one on the East Coast and someone's yelling, "Go Dogs." People recognize the forepaw. I think national media recognize the forepaw, and people are excited about what we're trying to do. We're trying to build an unbelievable football program here in Fresno, California.
I know you're a 1-0 type of guy.
Yep.
But if you had to pick a couple of opponents that you might have circled on your calendar or a win would feel extra sweet, you have to mind.
Well, I mean, you always want to start the year with a win, of course. Long time ago, one of my mentors always told me, if you could win the first of everything, you'll be okay. You win the first of the year, the first on the road, the first conference game, the first night game, whatever it might be. Before you know it, you win a lot of games that year. So the first one, of course, just because it's the first one of the year, it's the next one. Our kids will be super excited. And the fact that we get to play in the Coliseum down in L.A., a historical venue that has not only hosted the Trojans, but Olympics, World Series, Super Bowls, a tremendous opportunity for us. Some of the new opponents that we've never played before, of course, and then there's a lot of change that happened in the Pac-12 as well. There's new coaches at a couple different schools, and so trying to do as much intel and background work as we can this summer prior to those games. So I don't know if there's necessarily 2 or 3 others, but I know the first one is always going to be the priority. You want to start the year on a good situation. Good morning. Yep.
How much did last week's success validate your mentality of toughest wins?
Well, I think it helped. I think people saw and appreciated that we were able to run for 170, 180 yards a game, and really we're able to protect the quarterback. I think we gave up under 20 sacks a year ago, so there was steady improvement. Of course, there's a lot of areas that we want to continue to improve, especially in year 2. We have more of a footprint or more of our type of people now within the program. We've been able to have a couple of recruiting classes. We brought a handful of young men in. We had a good influx of young men that came in January that have now been here for 8 months, and I think a lot of guys that can continue to help us do what we want to do. And but there's some things that we want to continue to add to the. We need to continue to be a tackling team. We need to be more explosive on offense. We got to protect the football more. I think those are 3 things just off my cuff that I talk about routinely with our football team that where we can improve. And I don't know if those things will necessarily around and lead us to more wins, but they're going to put a better product, a better brand on the football field.
When we talked to Christian in the spring, he said that he had not heard that much about Fresno State, but he heard about the quarterbacks that came from the school.
Yep.
Fresno State recruited itself to bring in the newest transfer. Have you noticed any other situations where Fresno State kind of recruits itself? Like a guy says, well, I like Fresno State. I've heard of them. I'm going to go to your school.
Well, I think anytime we're recruiting young men from the Valley, it's the biggest show in town, and so a lot of them have grown up being fans of the Bulldogs. They've been part of Red Wave. Parents, grandparents, friends have season tickets, and so they've had the opportunity at a young age to start, their fandom. And so it's fun to when you are able to recruit young men that have always dreamt of being Bulldogs or always wanted to play for their local university. To see that come to fruition is always exciting and the fun part of recruiting.
And you mentioned about having Central Valley guys. Some coaches parachute don't know about the college connections here, like Tim DeRuiter a few years ago, right? He didn't know about Josh Allen, but you know about Bayon Harris, you know about David Williams, you know about these guys. Who told you about how important it is to recruit the Valley, you guys?
Well, I think that was probably just something of my own philosophy is you got to protect your home turf. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're in the Midwest or on the West Coast or the East Coast. You got to take care of home, and that has to be a priority. And I've done that a number of times. One of the big things that I saw when this job was open and available was the footprint that it sat in. And you take the area from Redding, California to Bakersfield, California. It's a huge area. We have almost 2 million people within about a 50-mile radius, and there's really good football in Central Valley, and it's trying to take advantage of what's here. And also present it where, staying in Fresno is an exciting, and this program's on the rise, and it's something that you want to get on board with.
Last question. There's no better compliment to your program than to have a guy offer to go to an SEC school, and he chooses to stay at your school. What do you think about the retention? Keeping Josiah, Rayshawn, Braden, tackle, Simeon, kept so many key players from last year where other guys lost. I mean, I've asked you this all spring, and I still don't know the answer. What's the secret?
Well, I think part of it is our approach as a staff and philosophically as a program. You've heard me use the term being transformational. It's not just It's about relationships. It's about getting to know each other's families. And our coaches and hopefully myself have done a really good job of, when we first got here, of knocking down some of those doors and getting our players to understand that this is a premier developmental program. It's going to help you get the opportunity out there. Again, we what that looks like, but we're going to keep developing young men. We're going to young men in here that have a chip on their shoulder, that love the work. You got to love football to play at Fresno State, and we've done that so far. And I think our messaging has been accepted by our football team. We have a very close locker room right now. Exciting to see the continuity, how they hold each other accountable, and the competitiveness that's in our locker room right now too.
With the continuity and closeness, is it fair to expect a better season than last season? With all that's coming back from last season, that could be better.
Oh, well, that remains to be seen. We still got to execute on the football field. We got to play with a ton of energy and effort. But I like where we are in July. But I think every head coach in the country would tell you they like where they are right now. We got to stay healthy. We can't let entitlement or getting comfortable, impact our football team. We got to continue to work and do the things that have gotten us to this point.
Coach, last season, you had asked me a lot about the young talent, rising up, stepping in, getting reps. Brady Walton was always
Yep.
your eye. What has he done so far through the spring, even through summer workouts, and where are you excited that he's going to go?
Well, he's really taken care of his body. He's leaned up, has really worked on his hip mobility, flexibility, worked on his had some injuries that kind of banged him up or maybe prevented him from playing at his as near 100% as possible. So he's really worked hard with our strength staff, with our medical staff to improve in all those areas. Having another 15 practices under his belt from spring only expands his knowledge. And so it's exciting to see, what he's able to do and then how he complements the other guys on the offensive line. I mean, he's not a first-year player anymore. He has, 800 snaps under his belt, so we need him to start operating and acting somewhat like a veteran, too.
Coach, what's it going to mean to you to return to the Coliseum as the head coach involved?
It'll be exciting. Again, like kind of all the things I mentioned before, it is a very special venue. The multitude of different events, the multitude of people that have walked through those doors, USC football players, Olympians, World Series, all the events that happen there. It's a one of a kind, and so it'll be exciting for our players and our staff to have an opportunity to compete and to perform in that type of venue in that setting.
How did you grow as a coach?
Probably were able to get back to some grassroots things. Was a position coach, so basically I was the head coach of my room. I was the head coach of the linebackers while I was there. Had an opportunity. Coach Riley was enabled me to kind of get involved a little bit with some practice planning, with some scheduling, with some things of that nature. Maybe some other head coach type duties, but which was good for me to see it done in a different way. I probably have taken a few of those ideas and implemented them here. Some of them have been really good for us, and so it was good for me. It was good it made me it was uncomfortable. Someone that had coached primarily in the Midwest his whole career, all of a sudden heading to the West Coast and to a city that was a long ways from Waterloo, Iowa, and to make it work was exciting. Opportunity to recruit the country. Was really good opportunity to recruit the state of California and kind of get my feet on the ground and kind of what works in the state of California, where the pockets of really talented players are. So it was very educational for me and a great experience and one that Coach Riley's a good friend of mine and I owe him a lot for it.
I know last year at Fall Camp, you kept saying, you guys are getting used to the system, you're learning the way you do things.
Yep.
And maybe that set you guys back a little bit in the beginning, just trying to get them on track with everything. Are you expecting Fall Camp to be full speed ahead when you guys get started?
I would like to anticipate it would be. Again, we've been here for a full year. We've gone through 2 springs, a fall camp, a season. I think our players kind of understand what the standard of practice looks like. They understand the standard of in the weight room, the training room, how all these things lend themselves to being successful. But at the same time, I need to continue to challenge them, to hold them accountable. But what I'm most excited about is, a year ago, I probably had to be out front. I had to be the primary leader. This year we have a lot of the young men that are going to be here later today have taken that role, and I think teams where they're led internally by the players have an opportunity to have really unique and special seasons.
I know you said the quarterback battle is going to be finalized through fall camp.
Yep.
When you think of the quarterback room that you have in Christian and Jaden, and even Deegan, what do you need to see from that person that's going to take that starting role, and then what do you need to see from the rest of the room and support?
Well, I think, we have to see consistency, the ability to step on the field every day and perform at a high level. Decision-making, of course, is going to be, utmost importance. Being able to communicate command, the huddle. Again, there's a ton of communication. I realize that we've kind of, have changed a little bit with coach to player, but still, they need to be responsible for the other 10. And then, of course, there's situational football and how do they respond to 2-minute drills. There's scenarios always every day or in every game where the quarterback has to operate on his own. And so we need to put them in as many of those situations as we can to see, how they respond. How do they respond to pressure in those scenarios? But I'm excited about the room. Deegan's done a tremendous job of adjusting to the college game. Again, always a ton of growth needs to take place. Thank goodness he came in January. Was an early enrollee. Had to get 15 practices, a lot of meeting time, captain's practices during the course of the summer, and it's been good for Christian as well. Being new to the program, getting all these reps under his belt, and then of course, Jaden. It's just been fun to see him healthy again, having dealt with an injury a year ago.
Coach, you were asked about recruiting your own backyard out from Bakersfield.
Yes, sir.
Could you address Bakersfield as part of that backyard, if you would?
Well, yeah, it's we're talking a 2-hour drive at max, 100 miles roughly, and there's good football down that way. We've won historically with a lot of Bakersfield young men, and it's just it lends itself that we need to make sure that that's the southern tip of the valley, and we need to make sure that we protect it no different than we would Fresno or anywhere up north. But I'm excited about the caliber of players that we've been able to see out of Bakersfield, especially the last couple years, and I think there'll be a few more probably joining our football team in the near future.
And if you could address Jason Exton on the roster of Bakersfield.
Jace has done a really good job. Biggest thing that we've challenged Jace with is, of course, physicality to point of attack. It's been a little bit different. A lot of these tight ends were recruited as maybe more flex positions prior to Matt Entz arriving. Now they have their hand in the ground. We have multiple tight ends on the field. And just continuing to elevate his physicality, his comfort in blocking, 6 techniques, 5 techniques, and that's where he's going to help us. He's in our top 2 or 3 tight ends right now and needs to have a really good, productive fall camp. But excited about what I've seen, his growth from year 1 to year 2.
Do you generally see something different in the coach's son?
Oh, definitely. I think you see a little bit more understanding, big picture. The work ethic is probably usually just a little bit different with the coach's son because they've been around it their whole life. They're the equivalent of a gym rat. They're probably a field rat. They've been around practice. They've had, agile bags, thrown at them their whole life. And so they're just used to being on the field. They're used to being in that situation. That's where they're most comfortable. So it is exciting when you're able to recruit coaches' kids because they have a really good understanding of the game, but they also understand the mental side of the game really well too. Just because they've picked so much up, just hanging around with dad or sitting in meetings with other coaches.
Coach, second year here at Fresno State, how do you feel that you're adapting on a personal level, and do you really feel like you're in a good
I feel like we're in a good place right now. There's always ups and downs with navigating some of the things with the NCAA, some of the rules that have been changed. But I think from a recruiting standpoint, from a program development, I think we're in a good place right now. We're really starting to know some of the areas that we want to stress. We spent a ton of time this offseason working on the fundamentals of the game. We called them positionless drills, and I think that was critical for our football team just to elevate their football IQ. Like I said, we consider ourselves a premier development program, and we're going to keep developing these young men as they come into our program, not just, between the white lines, but in the classroom, in the meeting rooms, so that way when we get on the field, we're fully prepared.
But you mentioned injuries per year. What can you share, if anything, about
Yes, Cooper was a young man that unfortunately had an infection that ended up landing near his brain, and due to the quick thinking medical staff that we have here and our personnel that are in that department, Dr. Kraft, Eric Buckman, our head athletic trainer, we were able to get him some help and some medical needs that he needed, ASAP. Children's Valley Hospital was critical in this process. So Cooper will not be with us this fall, with the intention that he will re-enroll at Fresno State once he's fully healthy in January. But at this time right now, he's doing really well. He's back home, still on some medication, but thriving and moving in the right direction. His family was out here for about 2 weeks with him while he was in Children's Valley Hospital. I was out there numerous times. Our medical staff was out there numerous times. And so, unfortunate situation. Glad we could get him help, prior to it becoming a more severe situation. You bet. Thank you. You guys have a great day.